34-year-old Luke Truesdell sits quietly on the sidewalk outside a rural Iowa property. He is the man responsible for the violence, yet he appears entirely calm. He doesn't invoke his right to silence. Instead, he speaks to deputies with complete emotional detachment. He exhibits zero physiological panic. Directly behind him sits a huge steel-framed outbuilding. The reality of his actions inside that structure is catastrophic. East Otter Road sits roughly 12 miles north of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The area is highly isolated. On the morning of June 5, 2024, the sprawling property owned by patriarch Lon Brown operated as an unconventional yet highly functional shared living and working space. 33-year-old resident Amanda Sue Parker prepared for work. Before heading out, she snapped a quick photo and sent it to her sister. She included a short, time-stamped text. "Tell the twins that I love them too. I love you, sissy." Back on the property, the morning consisted of routine physical labor. The activity centered around a massive steel-framed outbuilding. The structure served a dual purpose. It was an active mechanical workshop, but it also functioned as a makeshift communal living space. 26-year-old resident Keonna Victoria Ryan maintained a rugged living situation on the property. She slept in a tent pitched directly on the concrete floor inside the large shed. Just a few feet away, 44-year-old resident Romondus Cooper began his own routine. He gathered his tools and started working in front of a truck parked inside the enclosure. Outside in the yard, Luke Truesdell's father, Larry Truesdell, was busy parting out an old boat. Up in the main house, Lon remained restricted to a wheelchair. But as the afternoon wind picked up and the heavy garage doors remained shut, the enclosed outbuilding was about to become the site of a fatal attack. Luke Truesdell didn't track these victims down. He was simply one of the people already gathered on the sprawling property that morning. The defense would later argue that inside the shadows of the outbuilding, the 34-year-old was operating under severe sleep deprivation and an extreme methamphetamine-induced psychosis. But the catalyst for the violence was completely internal. Truesdell simply followed Romondus into the structure. He didn't start an argument. He didn't demand money. Instead, he armed himself with a 42-inch black metal pipe. He used the confined space of the shed to initiate a methodical ambush. Romondus was actively distracted working in front of the vehicle, his situational awareness severely compromised by the mechanical task. Capitalizing on this vulnerability, Truesdell targeted him first, striking him fatally with the heavy weapon. Following the initial assault, Truesdell did not flee into the yard. He waited inside the shed. When Amanda walked through the doors, he attacked her. Her echoing screams bounced off the steel walls. Believed to have heard the terrifying noise over the wind, Keonna and 34-year-old Brent Anthony Brown rushed blindly into the enclosed space. There, Truesdell systematically bludgeoned them both. Up in the main house, Lon was physically trapped. Unable to navigate his wheelchair to the outbuilding, he frantically dialed his other sons at work, telling them people were hurt badly. Matt and Corey Brown arrived minutes later. A strong smell of burning oil hung in the air. Looking into the structure, Matt saw Keonna collapsed motionless on the ground near the vehicle. Knowing Romondus had been running the truck, Matt desperately tried to rationalize what he was seeing. He believed there was an accidental carbon monoxide poisoning. He immediately reported this theory to the 911 dispatcher.
Okay, what's going on?
I just come home. My dad called me. He's handicapped. He said there's people that passed out in his garage. I don't know if it's I don't know. I just needed an ambulance. There's a bunch of people fainted.
Okay. How many people? I need to know how many people.
3.
Okay. Is this maybe like a carbon monoxide poisoning?
Oh, no. Dude, what the happened? I don't know. This is my dad's house. I really just need an ambulance.
I understand. I have to ask some questions, though, okay? And you said there's 3 people passed out?
There's 3 people passed out.
And
One's my
blood?
brother. Yes, a lot of blood. Please, hurry.
Okay.
No, I flew here from my work. My dad's handicapped. I don't know nothing. I just got here.
Okay.
It's not good.
Okay. I have the paramedics paged out. I need you to take a breath and answer some questions, okay? Is everybody there breathing?
Are they breathing?
They're not breathing?
I don't think so. No, one's not breathing.
Okay.
Yeah, female, one white male, one African American. So the vehicle was not on, but it just smelled like something was burning in there, so I'm assuming they had the engine on. Or something was running. I just popped open the door, so I was in the car, and I said, it literally looked like they were just sitting there, and they all just passed out drinking socks.
Before you realized this was something that maybe wasn't carbon monoxide, is that when you made the 911 call still under the impression or hope that this was a carbon monoxide issue?
Yes. I was trying to tell myself that until I seen the dog in the kennel.
You said you saw a dog in a kennel. Where was this dog at?
In between me, the truck, and Keonna.
So was it in this big garage or shop?
Correct.
So why did you think seeing the dog alert, awake, also indicated that this was something besides a carbon monoxide?
Because the dog should have been passed out if it was carbon monoxide.
During the courtroom playback, reporters explicitly noted Truesdell's nonverbal reaction. While Matt sobbed on the witness stand, Truesdell sat at the defense table with a slight smile on his face. Back at the scene, Matt and Corey heaved the heavy garage doors open. The carbon monoxide theory instantly fell apart. The harsh afternoon sunlight cut through the fumes, revealing the 4 victims on the concrete floor. Iowa State Patrol Trooper Tyler Fairbanks arrived operating under the premise of a carbon monoxide leak. His assessment quickly changed. The moment he looked at the bodies on the garage floor, he observed severe blunt force trauma. He quickly activated his vehicle's camera to document the reality of the scene. First responder Justin Lofsgaard breached the enclosed outbuilding. Larry Truesdell sat on the bloody concrete, frantically cradling the battered body of Brent Brown in a futile attempt to save the young man's life. While Larry fought to keep Brent breathing, his son Luke was already waiting outside. Luke had casually walked out of the structure and sat down on the concrete sidewalk steps on East Otter Road. He showed no visible remorse or fear.
What were you taking pictures of?
Just the condition of his hands, his clothing, his body, his shoes.
What happened? Tell me about it. Why? Obviously, I can tell there's a reason something happened.
But what did you say that you hit them?
Why?
What did you hit them with?
Right inside the door on the right is a metal bar.
The defendant asked you for a hug. What did he say after he gave you a hug?
Thank you.
And what else did he say? Do you recall him saying, "I feel a lot better talking to you"?
Yes.
As police secured the perimeter, Luke wandered into the cramped main house. Resident Cody McLeod booted up the property's digital surveillance system on a monitor. Deputies Lon, Cody, and Luke gathered in the cramped room, watching the raw playback of the attack. As a shadowy figure moved across the screen committing the acts, Cody pointed at the monitor and asked, "Who's that?" Luke casually replied, "That's me." Luke didn't just claim the physical act. He openly admitted his motive to the deputies. He disturbingly framed the massacre as a pursuit of fame, viewing the quadruple homicide as a necessary catalyst for his own twisted Hollywood ending. Exactly 2 days after sustaining catastrophic blunt force trauma to the skull, Brent Anthony Brown succumbed to his injuries in the hospital. Those 41 minutes of raw body cam footage became the centerpiece of the quadruple homicide trial.
They're not responsive. A lot of blood.
The doors were all shut
minus this door.
Like all these overhead doors were shut?
We didn't know if it was asphyxiation or what. So there's 4 people down. She's lightly breathing. Very lightly. That's my brother. He's breathing.
The 12-day trial commenced in November 2025. The The now 35-year-old Truesdell sat quietly at the defense table while the state presented a mountain of physical evidence. State investigator Sergeant Eric Lear utilized Faro laser technology to generate millions of spatial data points, permanently mapping the 3D blood spatter trajectories inside the garage. The 3D map proved Truesdell was standing right where the fatal blows were struck. Experts from the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation Crime Lab backed up the data. They testified that the victim's blood was soaked directly into Truesdell's shoes and shirt. Additionally, lead investigator Lieutenant Todd Egley addressed the defense's claims that Truesdell was simply suffering from drug-induced confusion. Egley testified that during the interrogation, Truesdell stated he was, quote, relieved and would never do it again.
I'm sorry, I don't want to see this. I want to know what I'm getting to. I'll never do it again. I'll feel so much better. You'll never do it again. I'll never do it again. You said 3 1 is still alive. I mean, my brother's still there. Feel a little bit better here. Back out the car. AC is trained. That's pretty hard to know. Just feel it on the right side. Luke, you cooperative enough. I got no issues. I was good. Yeah, good job application. Okay, good job.
When he says that he was in there, he doesn't admit to having done anything. He describes a crime scene. Luke says, quoting here, that he feels so amazing. And the state wants you to believe that that is because he has just released this pressure of having just committed 4 murders. That is how he feels. He has this pressure lifted off of his shoulders. But if you listen to the audio directly prior to that, Luke is talking about his grandma. He's talking about how he's opening up to childhood trauma that he's never talked about to anybody, or at a minimum in years. He's vocalizing some of the awful, awful things that he has seen and been through in his life. He is not saying that he feels better admitting to having 4 people. If you hear them the way that we hear them, you will understand that these are not confessions. These are statements made by somebody who is clearly traumatized, not only from what he had just seen, but also from the life he's been forced to live and is high on methamphetamine.
During closing arguments, State Prosecutor Monica Slaughter brought the jury face to face with the physical reality of the 42-inch weapon.
42 inches, that pipe. Even if you choose not to touch the pipe itself, lift that box. See how heavy that metal pipe is. And then ask yourselves, is that a dangerous weapon? We found out that on the pipe there was DNA. And whose DNA did we find? We found different types of DNA. We found blood evidence belonging to Romondus Cooper and Keonna Ryan. We found other DNA that was considered to be a minor contributor to the spots that the criminalist decided to swab that were unidentifiable because there were not enough points or loci within that DNA to confirm whom it belonged to. But I don't think anybody is doubting that that is the same pipe that struck all 4 victims, considering that the paint from the end of that pipe is embedded in each one of their skulls.
With the physical evidence stacked heavily against his client, defense attorney Patrick McMullen stood before the jury for his closing argument. He bypassed the blood and the digital mapping to make a desperate, shocking claim.
Folks, we said in our opening argument that all we wanted you to do as members of the jury was to hold the state to their burden. It is the state's obligation to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. And you will get a definition of what a reasonable doubt is, but we are reiterating that that is all we are asking for you to do today. Don't jump to the same conclusions that they jumped to. Don't make the assumptions that Egley made unless you yourself believe those. If the state has proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt, then you hold him accountable. His hands were never tested. His shorts were never tested. His shoes were never tested. But there was somebody else there that day. And the police, using their tunnel vision and their confirmation bias, they just decided, oh, we're done here. And they never looked. And why is there no blood on Luke?
The prosecution easily dismantled this claim using first responder testimony.
And they want you to believe that the head that you see leaving the shed could be Larry's, even though there's absolutely no evidence that Larry ever left that boat. And I say no evidence because you have the evidence. This is not a guess. You have the video to watch. And in the video, Larry goes to the boat, and there are no heads moving until Luke's head leaves the outbuilding. You are not going to see a head come from that boat until after the head from the shed goes in that direction. Luke goes out there and tells his dad what he did. And his dad comes around the corner to check it out. Larry was always at the boat. Luke went in the shed. He told us what he saw. He told us he went in there. He told us that he hit each of them. He knows where the murder weapon is. Literally a needle in a haystack. And he directs law enforcement officers directly to it. What you see is a pissed off father and a son moping behind him, really ashamed and embarrassed of what he did. What do you mean you don't know? You don't know what I did, Dad. Just following behind him. And Larry's turning around and he's yelling at him. And he's calling him an idiot. And he's saying the F word. And you can hear him on video. What happened? What'd you do? Lon, call 911. Call an ambulance. But the defense wants you to believe that Larry's our murderer. Absolutely no evidence that in the process of them going back in there together, somebody who's not known chucks this 60-pound pipe. 60, that might be an exaggeration. Feel it for yourself. But this chucks it to him, and in chucking the pipe, that just happened to be how he got that one speck of blood on him. And then after he caught the pipe and he's dragging it behind him, then some possibilities, maybes, no evidence of anything like that.
Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict? We have. Will the defendant please stand? For count one, victim Keonna Victoria Ryan, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree. For count two, Romondus Cooper, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree. For count three, Amanda Sue Parker, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree. For count four, Brent Anthony Brown, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree. Foreperson, is this the jury's verdict? It is. All right, I want to make sure that this is the true and correct verdict, and the defense may have a seat, please. So let me ask you to make sure for count one, can I see a show of hands if your true and correct verdict is murder in the first degree for count one? Please raise your hand. Okay, I see everyone's hands raised. For count two, is your true and correct verdict murder in the second degree? If so, please raise your hand. I see all hands are raised.
The legal proceedings concluded in February 2026 when Judge Elizabeth Dupuis delivered the final sentence.
All right, Mr. Truesdell, you're not required to speak, and I will not hold it against you if you choose not to. Is there anything that you would like to say?
The morning of June 5th, 2024, I got my last selfie from her when she was getting ready for work. She said, tell the twins I love them too, and I love you, Sissy. I haven't been the same mother that I was before. My mental health has declined. I have had to seek therapy to help me cope and forgive and try to heal from this tragedy. Since my sister was brutally murdered, I carry her absence with me every day. There's no part of my life that has not been touched by the loss. This pain is not one that time will heal or that I will move on from. I carry this daily, and I will live with until I meet her in heaven.
What is less clear is why these crimes were committed, but instead of focusing on why, which shifts the spotlight to the defendant, I would encourage you to choose to remember those lives lost, because there does not appear to be any rational reason behind these crimes, and there is simply no justification which can make sense. And in the end, the more you struggle to seek explanation, the more power you give to the offender, whose acts do not earn him the spotlight, but rather removal from society through perpetual imprisonment, which is what's going to happen now. So I hereby sentence the defendant for counts 1, 3, and 4 to be confined for indeterminate terms of life imprisonment without parole eligibility. For count 2, the defendant is sentenced to be confined to an indeterminate term not to exceed 50 years with parole eligibility not until he has served 70% of the maximum term. His custody is placed with the Director of the Division of Adult Corrections and his temporary custody with the Sheriff of this county. Based on the record before the court and the fact that 4 lives were lost, the sentences will run consecutively to one another, resulting in a total sentence of 3 terms of mandatory life imprisonment without parole and 1 term of 50 years of imprisonment. The defendant will pay victim restitution in the amount of $150,000 to the estate of each victim or to their heirs at law if no estate has been opened.
But the sentencing numbers offered no comfort to the families. Luke Truesdell viewed a quadruple homicide simply as a stepping stone to personal fame, entirely detached from the reality of the lives he ended. His pursuit of a fictional spotlight destroyed 4 actual futures. Amanda Parker, Romondus Cooper, Keonna Ryan, and Brent Anthony Brown were working, living, and sending quiet messages of love to their families on what should have been a normal June afternoon. They were hardworking members of that rural community, not disposable props for a cinematic delusion. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown insightful, subscribe for more investigative true crime content.